Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. Sammy here, your host, and today is another business owner hot seat. So I'm going to be talking with Eva Klein today about her website. So she gets a lot of organic traffic to her website currently, but is in the middle of a redesign and wants to kind of have some better ideas that she can get to her developers on how to maximize on that organic traffic and how to convert people into customers. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and I'm super excited about it. There's lots of goodies and nuggets in here as she redesigns, and it might be a little bit tricky at times because we do look through her current website and her old website, so you'll definitely want to check those out to see kind of how we have evolved and kind of given some ideas for how to move things forward. But let me tell you a little bit about Eva before we get started so you can kind of understand what her goals are. Eva is a certified infant and sleep child consultant and is the founder of My Sleeping Baby. To all you moms out there and dads who have had babies, right? It's a real thing. Sleep is real. Eva's main goal is to assist her clients establish healthy sleep habits for their children. After experiencing the debilitating effects of chronic sleep deprivation from her middle child, Eva was inspired to help families overcome their sleeping challenges. Eva truly emphasizes with her clients' sleep troubles and personally invests herself in their sleep journey. Eva is a proud wife and mother of 3 children who are all great sleepers and lives with her family in Toronto. She provides individual sleep consultations, either in person or over the phone, facilitates group seminars, and runs an online sleep program and community called The Sleep Bible. In addition to completing her sleep consulting certification, she is a member of the Association of Professional Sleep Consultants and has completed the 2016 Infant Mental Health Community Training through the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto. Eva also has her Bachelor of Arts from York University and her law degree from the University of Western Ontario. Whew! Lots going on there with her, and she is awesome and has so many great ideas at how to bring her passion to the people that she can help more so she can grow her business online and really help impact more families. I also love this conversation because she works with babies and infants. She works with a clientele that it could potentially outgrow her services or will outgrow her services. So it's a great lesson in understanding that you can grow a business in a niche down area. And I hope that you guys get some good takeaways from this episode. But before we get to it, this episode is brought to you by our 30-day roadmap. This roadmap will walk you through all of the things that you need to know about your website before you head into a design or a redesign. It will walk you through different things to think about, ways to evaluate your website so that you know that your website's being set up to convert visitors into leads and leads into sales. So you can check that out by going to thefirstclick.net/30 days, download it free and get started. It's Q4. And so it's the perfect time to do a website audit and see where you're at and start to get things in line and geared up for your business goals in 2020. Let's get to it. You're listening to the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bedell-Mulhern, and each week I bring you tips from myself and other experts, as well as hot seats with small business owners and entrepreneurs to demystify digital marketing and get you on your way to generating more leads and growing your business. Big welcome to Eva. Is it Eva or Ava? I should have asked you that before we started. Well, welcome, Eva. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks so much for having me.
So I've already introduced you. The listeners kind of know a little bit about you, but why don't you kind of share a little bit about My Sleeping Baby and kind of what it is we're going to be kind of troubleshooting today?
Yeah, absolutely. So my business, My Sleeping Baby, is a pediatric sleep consulting practice. So I work with exhausted parents of babies and young children to get their little ones sleeping and maximize sleep for the whole family. So my business model is basically one-on-one coaching. I offer group workshops and I have a membership.
Awesome. And before we got on, you mentioned, that your website's from 2012 and you're in the process of updating.
Yeah, it's a little bit archaic, my website. I mean, it's unbelievable. And when I say 2012, I actually mean 2014, but let's be real, in the world of, web design, that's archaic. And so I fully admit that I was neglecting it over the last number of years just because it was doing the trick. But if I want to really take my business to the next level, I absolutely have to upgrade it. And so I am working with a developer right now who has started with all these upgrades, but I feel like I definitely need some direction in terms of how to best optimize my webpage for all the organic traffic that I get.
So, organic traffic, for those of you who don't know, is traffic that people just type in a keyword into a search engine and you show up and then they click through to yours. So that's great because that's free.
Yes.
So I also want to throw out there that I love how specific and how niche down your program is, because I think a lot of people think, well, if I help families with sleeping babies, they're going to outgrow my program and then I'm not going to have any more clients. But
babies are born every day.
All the time, right? So I just love
all the time.
Yeah. So I just want I just want to throw that out there to all the listeners as a lesson of don't be afraid to really be specific with what it is that you do. Okay.
Absolutely.
Off that soapbox now. So let's take a look at your website. And you said something else to me before we got on, which made me really happy. You said, I'm going to pull up my Google Analytics just in case so that I can answer your questions.
Yes.
Guys, Google Analytics is your friend. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. So,
for the record, I recently befriended Google Analytics. I'm not claiming to be, a veteran expert on this whatsoever. But I'd say over the last maybe 6 months, I've really gotten to know it. And it's a really great tool.
Well, and the beauty of the way they've set it up now is you can really get a lot of information without having to dig into the weeds. So even if you don't go crazy through all of the different reports, there's so much you can get on the dashboard. So I love that too.
Right.
Okay. So when you say that you're kind of revamping your strategy, because I notice one of the things that pops up at the very top in your toolbar is the title of your page says Toronto Child Sleep Consultant.
Yes.
So are you focusing your business more towards the online, or are you wanting to focus more towards the one-on-one consulting?
Definitely online. I think that one of the reasons why it says Toronto is because a number of years back, I did get some SEO help.
Yes.
And that was when my business only had the coaching. And so I think for SEO purposes, it may have helped having the word Toronto in there. But given that I'm absolutely expanding, I have expanded my business since then. I'm guessing where you're going with this is that it would make more sense to get rid of the word Toronto.
Well, yeah, absolutely. For social or for SEO purposes, like those location keywords are helpful. So I just want to make sure that I understand that we're looking at an online focus as opposed to a location specific, because it's very different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I look at your website, it is definitely, you can tell by like the thinner margins that it's not a recent website. But the thing that strikes me, your colors are great, your branding is great, but the thing that strikes me is it's just really busy. Like there's a lot on your navigation, there's a lot of things happening, and my eye has a really hard time understanding where to go. And I got an advanced preview of her new website, and it definitely is a lot cleaner.
Yes.
And so I like that you have the book a call and get your free guide as kind of the main things. Like that makes it really easy for me to see. I can see very visually what it is that you do. So that I think you guys did a great job, like right from the beginning.
Fantastic.
But the second piece that you have on your new version of your website is about you and who you are.
Yes.
I would instead maybe talk about some of your services. Like, okay, so I like to think about it as, what is the problem you solve, which you clearly define. It says My Sleeping Baby and Toddler Sleep Consultant. Like, I get it. But now I want to know how you help me solve that problem.
Okay.
Before I'm even really ready to care about who you are.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I get it. That it's not about me. It's about how I can help somebody.
Right.
So you would recommend moving my approach section, up near the front.
Right. Like the, how you help, like this, there, you have a section that says, are you exhausted? Do you want more energy, more patience, more positive family memories with your little one? Like that should be way higher, because that's basically when we think about our homepage, we're scrollers, right? Everybody scrolls. So we want to see the most important things first, and that's what's going to keep us scrolling down for more. And so people definitely want to get to know you eventually, but they need to feel like they trust that you understand their problem and how you solve it first. Right. Because if the way you solve it is let's just say you're online, but I really want somebody in home and I live in Central Oregon, right? So if the way that you solve it is online, I know you're not the right fit for me. It doesn't even matter if I like you or don't like you.
Right.
And vice versa.
Got it.
So that would be something that I would think about. And then same, your video, which I haven't had a chance to watch yet, but your video is specific for your program?
Yes. I mean, it's the interview was just maybe me and the lady addressing general questions about my approach and how we can get babies sleeping and specific, how I address specific issues, that type of thing.
So yeah, I would maybe even move that up too.
Okay.
Because that's a way for people to get to know you in a way where you're still making it about them, because you're addressing common questions.
Yes.
And then I would maybe title it a little bit differently so that doesn't have Sleep Bible program, because that might put people off as far as, okay, I don't want to hear a pitch. Even if there's a pitch in there, maybe title it more about if you have tangible tips in there, like maybe like 3 tips to get you started or something, right? So they know that there's value being provided immediately.
Right. Oh yes, because the sleep, I have 2 different videos on my website. There's a video where I was interviewed by a local news station for a 8-minute long segment. And then there is another video that is a pitch for my Sleep Bible program. So the pitch, you're saying embed that, don't have that on the front page because no one wants to be pitched immediately.
Right.
Okay. But then the interview, that should be on the web page, because I'm not pitching anything there. I'm just providing free value.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So, I mean, a lot of people use this analogy, right? Like you have to date them before you marry them.
Yes.
And all of the things that we want to be pushing out there need to be, here's the problem I solve. Here's how lovely I am. Here's how I can make your whole life better. And who doesn't want their kid to sleep better, right? I mean, if you're sleep deprived, like you're desperate and ready. So you want to make them feel comfortable. You want them to, make them feel like, without kind of that clickbaity stuff, that you can get them results quickly because that's what they want.
Yes. Right. No, that makes sense.
So, I mean, it's just a good lesson for everybody in our websites. We tend to think about them from our perspective because we're the one doing it. Like I'm the one who's writing all the copy about myself and it feels weird and awkward, but whatever. Instead, we need to reframe our brain to say, okay, I'm going to write as if I'm my ideal customer. So that they see themselves, they land on the website and it's all about them. And they just automatically are like, oh my gosh, this person gets me. They understand me.
Right.
Like, I need more.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on, the fact that in this draft homepage that there is still quite a bit of content on it, or links to practically every single one of my pages. I mean, I was thinking to, get rid of some of it just because it might be a little bit overwhelming for someone.
So, there's a couple different rules of thought, and it just kind of depends on I would test it. So, usually it's a pretty 50-50 split. I don't know if you can tell in your analytics what your mobile versus desktop percentages are as far as how people are asking. It should be on the very bottom of that home dashboard.
Okay.
But more people are on mobile than desktop these days.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm really glad you cleaned up your navigation. It's much more condensed.
Yeah.
And then, so the longer pages on your website with big buttons are typically better for mobile users, because then they can get to where they need to go on your website. So that's why the order is really important of how you put the things there. And so playing with the order, and testing how it works, how things convert differently depending on who or the order of the stuff will be important. But longer pages are good for people that really want to dive deep because they get all of that information.
Yeah.
And then it matters on how it's laid out, how it's designed, and how it kind of pulls people through.
Though my gut is telling me, you know, my avatar, which are exhausted parents, right? Probably all the more so probably don't have the bandwidth to sit and read through tons and tons of content, you know, all on my webpage, which, you know, makes me think to go the less is more route. But I'm not 100% sure, obviously.
I think it just depends on, I would take a look at your analytics and think about the pages that have the most on your current website, the pages that have the most traffic.
Okay.
Because those are the ones that your visitors are interacting with and engaging with the most. And if that's the case, then I would use that information as far as what's linked on your homepage, like what categories you have on your homepage, what you use. If it's your services, if it's your book a call, whatever it is, your program, I would pay attention to that. And then those things you want to have on your homepage because that's what people like and want to see.
Yeah.
And that's how they'll continue to dive deeper, because it does make sense that people don't want to spend a lot of time. They just want to kind of see if you can get them results.
Right. Should I click, I'm just on my Google Analytics right now. Should I just click the pages report? Is that what will have all that data?
Yeah. And it should show you, like, at the bottom of your Google Analytics dashboard, like the main page, when you scroll down to the bottom, they should have that pages report where it's showing you like this, the / with the slug or the rest of the URL that's there. So I typically like to take a look at it. I personally like 90 days just because if I'm in launch mode, I know it's going to be skewed, and that kind of gives me a little bit more information. But then if you click into that report as well, you can compare it to previous time periods. So you could look at like this 90 days versus the last 90 days versus the last year. But knowing and understanding what content your audience enjoys interacting with is super helpful.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Because right now, I mean, I think the data is a little bit skewed because it's only showing me from a week ago. And I recently had a new blog post and emailed out the blog post to my list. So that obviously has a lot of, it got a lot of traffic, more traffic likely than usual. So I'm just trying to, again, I am very new with Google Analytics. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can, extend the date range here. Oh, here we are. Okay.
Yeah, it should be in the top right corner.
Yeah. So if I do, let's say like July 1st until now, that would probably get me a better idea, because I actually have no idea what content people are interacting with the most.
So this is going to be a really good exercise for you just in general, because you have a blog and you're planning on keeping up with that, I assume.
Yeah.
So it's also going to help you just understand which pieces of content you're creating people are engaging with more.
Yeah.
And then understanding that when we get in this content churn and we feel like we have to create like brand new stuff all the time. But if you have a blog post from like a year ago that's really performing well still, then just refresh it and update it, right? And then push it out again as new. And that's really good for your website traffic because it's already getting a lot of activity. And then making sure that your calls to action on those pages are updated as well for your new programs or new system. So as you're redoing your website, it's a great time to go through all of your blog content, update it, make sure it's got the right information for what you're trying to sell now versus maybe what you were trying to do when you started your blog. It can be a tedious task, but if you get a lot of great organic traffic and you've got great topics out there, that blog can become a really powerful driver for your website.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm looking at this data right now. So number one, it just shows like a a colon or a semicolon, like I don't even know what that's called. You know, the line that goes diagonally down.
The forward slash.
The forward slash. Is that just referring to the homepage?
Yes.
Okay. So the homepage is number one. Number two is one of my blog posts. And then number three is my membership page.
Mm-hmm. Did you just do a launch?
Well, I have an open membership, so I do, mini launches every month. So
that makes sense.
The answer always is yes.
Good for you. That's hard work.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I mean, this particular, just looking at this, given the fact that people are loving this particular blog post, does that mean that I should then have a link to my blog, or feature my blog on the main homepage?
I don't think it ever hurts to put that content on your homepage. I mean, you can put it at the bottom, but I think, again, if I'm interested in what you have and I see a topic there that's really going to spark my interest, it's just another reason for people to go deeper with you.
Right.
So I don't think that ever hurts.
Okay.
I think if I look at your current website to your new version, and I understand that it's totally in draft and you're just getting started, I think I wouldn't worry so much about people being able to consume it, because what you have on your homepage now is a lot of text, and it's not laid out in a way that's easy for me to understand what I'm supposed to be looking at.
Yeah.
Your new website does have a lot of content on it, but it's laid out much more visually appealing and like in chunks. So I can really clearly see exactly, okay, I don't care about this part. I don't want to watch a video right now. Okay, here's the blog. I like this title. Like, it's easy for me to see what each section's about and do I want to get involved in that or not.
Yeah.
And so it's about the words. It's about what you write that draws people in, but it's how you lay it out that gets them to stop the scroll and say, okay, oh yeah, this is what I was looking for.
Right. No, that makes sense. And you see this for my business in particular, knowing, again, thanks to Google Analytics, it's shown me that I consistently get more traffic to my website through an organic search than any other medium. Like I wouldn't say by a landslide, but it's always noticeably bigger than any other traffic source.
That's
so
great.
When I'm getting, which is fantastic, but I just know I'm not optimizing. I'm not optimizing my homepage as well as I could be for all these organic users. Like what I ultimately want them to do is I want them to opt in. I want them to give me their email address. That's the ultimate goal here. So, I'm wondering, looking at the draft right now, if you have any other feedback in terms of how I can best increase the chances of getting that golden email address.
Right. So the best way to get the emails are to really, again, provide value without making an ask. So the get your free guide button is awesome, but I don't know what the guide is.
It has my top 7 sleep tips on how to get their little one sleeping. So you're saying that should be laid out more clearly.
Yeah. So if you're going to give them 7 tips to help their kiddo, then it needs to be like, you need to let them know that that's exactly what they're getting. Because otherwise, get your free guide is kind of like saying, sign up for my newsletter. Like, nobody's going to do that because they don't know what it is. And I believe you had a pop-up on I think I closed out a pop-up on your current site, right?
Yes. Do you like pop-ups?
They work.
Okay.
I mean, don't get obnoxious about them. Like, we have one on our website, and we have control over how often it pops up, when it pops up. So I personally like them either on exit. So if your mouse hovers over the X to close out of the page, then it'll pop up. I like if they scroll a certain percentage of the way down your website, they pop up. I don't like it when people land on your page and it pops up right away, because it's like, I don't even know if I like you yet, so I'm probably going to close out right away.
Yeah.
If it's a little, or like a time delay of like 20 seconds, I think those are less intrusive.
Okay. And just have the one. So in other words, if it comes up 20 seconds after I've been on the site and I X out of it, it's not coming up again.
So, and if you don't like the pop-up, if that feels too intrusive, then the other option, which works really well, are the slide-ins. So those just come in like at the bottom quarter of the website. So it's not as in your face. So those are great options. And I like the pop-ups to be your main lead magnet. So if you have several, don't do like 4 pop-ups.
Yeah, no. It would still also just be my sleep guide.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know that you said, you love how my new version has a button for book a call, a button for, get your free guide. But the problem with get your free guide is that there's no description as to like what that actually means. So how would you recommend changing that?
So what's more important to you, booking a call or getting the free guide or getting people's emails?
The emails, because I am most people when they're booking a call with me, they want to book me one-on-one, and I'm looking to scale my membership and grow my membership more, and getting the email, it helps me do that more.
So maybe just have one button there, and instead of where it says My Sleeping Baby, instead of it saying below that your name and what you do, to use that real estate to talk about what your free guide is.
Okay. So don't mention my name. Where should my name and my description be then?
I don't even think that matters until you get a little bit farther down, to be quite honest. Okay. I mean, if you're a personal brand or like your name already means something to people, then for sure have it up. And I'm not trying to say that you don't matter to people. I'm just trying to say that people that come to your page organically are probably not, they may have searched you or, maybe they were referred to you by somebody, but that would show up as probably direct traffic because they would already have your URL. So they're a colder audience who's trying to get to know if you can solve the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, it's a tough one because I know that, I'm just trying to pull up, my traffic years. Okay, source medium. Over 50% of my traffic is definitely organic. Okay. I'll tell you here over the last, since July, it says 56.7% of my traffic is organic. But then the other almost half is coming to me, through my newsletter, through direct, through Facebook, Instagram, etc. And they're all coming. I can tell you for sure that they're all coming to my website because I am a personal brand. I am my brand. So I just want to make sure that I'm serving both audiences. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. It would just probably be something that you would need to test. I just think if your free guide is the most important thing, then I would make that front and center and get people to sign up for that. And you need to tell them what they're going to get when they download it, because they know you're going to be emailing them regularly afterwards. And so you want to make it easy. And I like that it just pops up and says, sign up now, and they can give you their information. It doesn't take them to another page, which is good. And your name is there. Because the other piece that I'm not seeing is you have a bunch of, is that media that you have on your current page where you've got these logos? Oh, how you have like the certified professional for maternity, your associations and things. You don't have those on the new site, and maybe that's just not there yet.
Oh yeah. You know what? I got to tell them to put those at the bottom. You would put those, or where would you put those?
I would put those right around wherever you have your, about you.
Okay.
So they're there together.
Okay.
I mean, I think you're really close. I think simplifying it, you've definitely simplified it. I wouldn't worry too much about what goes where necessarily right now. You're going to have to play with it and test, and again, see how your conversions are happening. I mean, here's the ultimate thing, right? If you're getting organic traffic to your website, but nobody's buying, then there's a problem somewhere. If people are buying, then just keep doing what it is you were doing, right? And continuing
Right.
to add content and update your website. We can't have a set it and forget it attitude with our websites as much as we would love to, because we put so much work, especially when you go through a process like this, right? When you're building your website or rebuilding, you launch and then you're like, okay, I need like a minute to not be on my website.
Yeah.
But that's when it's so important to keep updating. But I think, honestly, you've cleaned it up a lot. It's easy to tell what you want people to do. I think you're going to see a lot of improvement in time spent on your site, time spent on specific pages. And then hopefully this lead magnet will work better, because it'll be easy for people to find it and get it.
Right. I have another question for you.
Sure.
I mean, I am planning in the near future to, once this, the bulk of the work here is done and I can then focus, on another big task at hand. I really want to begin creating like an evergreen funnel that would kind of start with a free pre-recorded webinar. And so, which can then, lead into like a whole sales sequence to join my membership. So, but of course, like the start of the funnel would be the webinar. So for all this organic traffic coming to my site, and knowing I have this, would I end up replacing the free guide with the webinar as, the main lead magnet? Or am I breaking rules having more than one lead magnet featured on my homepage?
No. Okay. So do you have a Facebook pixel tracking code?
Yes.
Okay. So that's great. So when you run that webinar, that's a great, that retargeted, retargeting all your organic traffic will be huge for that.
Right.
Because they're warm. But no, you aren't going to break any rules. Right?
I just don't want to overwhelm my people, going like, oh, what do I do? There's a this, and she wants me to do with that,
No, I mean, you can do that. You can definitely overwhelm people, but your audience are going to react to things differently than other people's audiences. And so a great thing for that could just be like under your resources, you could change that to like training, or you could have like a work with me section. That's what I have, where I have all of my courses and memberships and stuff. And then I just kind of reorder them based off of what the priority is.
Right.
So you could have like a learn with us or work with me or what have you. And then, again, people get so annoyed with me, but it's really testing. It's testing what does better. Do you convert better when you nurture them through your email, or do you convert better when they watch your webinar? And then that's what maybe should be up higher. And then you can still have your other one a little bit farther down. And then the other piece is also your blog post. So like, what calls to action do you have in your blog posts? What makes more sense for what that post is about to drive them then also to watching all of those?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, I do live webinars every month and they convert really well. My last one, I converted at like 12 or 13%.
That's great.
Really, really well. But I think the difference is that someone that's downloading, and you can kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but just kind of from what I've seen about my audience, it seems like those who download, a free guide, they're not necessarily in buying mode the way that they might be, the way that, the audience is who's doing a webinar. Because, a webinar involves way more time to, sit down and listen and learn something. Whereas a free guide, okay, you click a button and you grab a guide and you scroll through it for 5.5 seconds and then you forget about it. I mean, that could potentially be what a lot of people are doing.
Oh, for sure. And I think the email list is more of a long-term nurture system. Then you're absolutely right. So once you turn your webinar evergreen, I would flip it and test it and see how it works, and move your guide farther down. And if your conversions stay higher with the webinar, then by all means. I agree with you that I wouldn't put 2 opt-ins like right on your header, but it's okay to have 2 opt-ins on your homepage if they're done correctly.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. This is great.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the final product. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, this has been so helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, well, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. But if there's anybody listening that has a baby or toddler that's not sleeping, how can they find out more about you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can just head over to mysleepingbaby.com. And hopefully by the time you head over to my website, it doesn't look like it's from 2012.
Do you have a tentative? You know what? It's really not the worst I've seen. I promise.
I know it could be worse, but it could be a lot better too.
Do you have a tentative launch?
It's a good question. I mean, I'm hoping within the month to have this, within the next 1 to 2 months to have this live.
Well, awesome. Well, we will link all of this stuff up in the show notes that people can find you, and we'll let them know. We'll add an update into the show notes when this goes live as to where you are, if it's new or not. But I really appreciate you coming on and just allowing us to kind of critique and go through your website and share kind of where you're at and where you're stuck. I think it's super helpful for people to hear that they're not alone in the questions that they have.
Definitely not. And you can't possibly know everything. There's always people that know more than you that can help you. So this is great.
Oh, good. Well, thank you so much. Big thank you again to Eva for coming on and sharing all of her business stuff, her website, and kind of bearing it all for you guys so you can learn something from her. We will have links to all of her website and all of her information in the show notes, and you can find those at thefirstclick.net/30. And if you'd like to be featured as a small business owner or have something troubleshooted for you, please hit us up. You can do that in the comments there as well, or on Facebook and Instagram at The First Click Marketing. We'd love to have a conversation with you and help you tackle some of the things that you're struggling with. But for now, I hope you subscribe wherever you listen so that you don't miss out on an episode, and I look forward to seeing you next week.